Hello, I'm Dr. Tom, and I would like to welcome you to this Friday's update. This will, in fact, be our final Friday update of 2019, and I want to extend a happy holiday to all of you from all of us at Gen as these holidays continue. I will tell you that we are moving forward into the perfect vision of 2020. I believe you'll know more about what that means as we enter 2020. Begin to build your energy ball. Begin to prepare for the things that are to come. I will tell you that as we wind down this year, remember, we have a sponsoring incentive that's going on, the 3, 5, 8, and 10. Whether you sponsor 3 people, 5 people, 8 people, or 10 people, to make you eligible for those cash prizes, which will be paid at the end of 2020. Remember, this is about sponsoring people, the numbers that you have sponsored who join and become members throughout that year. And that is just the beginning of the incentives that happen. I'm telling you that there are things in play that we have not released yet. We've not revealed them to you because we're looking for those who take action. They will be rewarded, and they will be rewarded in ways that they do not yet even know. You see, it's about intention. It's about giving. It's about sponsoring. It's about building this club. Because when we help each other, when we begin to help each other, we help all of us collectively as a group. When we begin to help individuals, when we help one person, 3 people, 5 people, 8 people, 10 people, we now impact the total energy ball of the club. And that's part of what we are doing and what we are building and what is actually happening. And the sponsorship continues. Yes, it does. And we are having a spectacular finish to 2019. I will tell you that we talked about Cabo. We've talked about Cabo since we left Denver. And we've talked about the energy that's going to be there and how special that will be. And I'm telling you that we will be releasing some things in Cabo that you will want to be there. We honestly believe, we believe with great confidence that Cabo will be a life-changing event for many of you. Just as Sekou said in Denver, this was his event. You never know when it's going to get you, when you're just going to embody the knowingness that happens with this club and the knowingness that comes with studying the Success Mastery course. It is life-changing, and it will be life-changing for you. And I will tell you that as we move into the second phase of the messaging that I was talking about last week, that message of confidence, the way in which you can start a day, remember this is the second part of lesson number 9 in those lessons for success. Confidence. Start your day. Start your day with a statement that is something like this: I am one with white life. The lightness, the bright, the light. I am one with white light. Maybe a second one is, I am white life. You see, when I am, we've done exercises on the vibration and frequency of am or om and in meditation. You see, start your day with a moment of silence and reflection, and then build on the confidence of your energy ball of this white life. And I was so excited when I read this chapter talking about confidence in this book, because I have experienced this so many times in my life, and so many different people and different with different vocations and lifestyles and ways in which to apply this confidence, this way in which you embody confidence of the white life, or the white light, if you will. I've talked to pilots over the years. I would ask them about what is their pre-flight routine. What do they think about? How do they prepare themselves mentally to fly a plane? I mean, it's a tremendous responsibility, and they're in it too. I mean, it's not like the guy who's coaching from the sideline. The pilot is in the plane, and they're in the front of the plane, and typically things that happen with planes happen from the nose first. You get my point. So I would ask them, what do they do? And I've had a number of them tell me that they create a mental image of this confidence, and they actually they picture the plane that they're going to be in, and they picture a bright white light all around that plane. It's like a protective force field, if you will. It's an expansion of their energy ball. I've talked to men and women in service who before they're going into a conflict or something that could be life-threatening or dangerous, what do they do mentally to prepare themselves with confidence so that they have a successful endeavor? And many of them will describe that feeling to you where they build an energy ball, a force field. They project in their mind's eye a way in which they're going to come out the other side of whatever it is they're going into. You see, and I've learned in my early chiropractic career, when we studied under Dr. Gonstead in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin, my father would fly us up there. You could go by plane. They had a landing strip at the clinic, which I thought was world changing. That a hotel you could stay in. It was a big operation. And he talked about picturing things in your mind's eye. He applied it to doing an adjustment, a chiropractic. It was at that point a physical type of an adjustment, and he would have you picture the bone itself and see it moving exactly as you intended for it to do prior to your adjustment. You see, these laws, they apply to everything, regardless of what your vocation is. If you're doing energy work, see the energy in your mind's eye as you intend for the energy to be at the completement of your treatment or your session, or however you describe what you do. You see, it applies to virtually everyone in every aspect of what you do, whether you're talking to athletes or performers. They picture, they get into that zone, they get quiet. Some of them wear headphones, some listen to music, some do not listen to music. Some do not want to talk, some want to be over in the corner. Others make light chit chat because that's the way they deal with the pressure, and they focus their mental energy and their confidence on what's about to happen in their sport, on their field, however it is that they play. I've talked to performers, world-class performers. What do? They get into a zone. I've talked to businessmen about what do you think about before you go in and make a presentation. I've talked to lawyers about what do you do before a closing argument. How do you prepare yourself for confidence with success? Little did I know it would lead to teaching or sharing a lesson with members around the world decades later from when I had these conversations. You see, this is how it works. It's all about building a foundation so that when the moment arrives, you're ready to deliver with confidence a message. All the way to where some businessmen will say, I like to have the meetings in my boardroom because I'm confident in there, because I have a track record in there. I go around the room beforehand and I look at the corners. I pull the energy from all areas of the room. I touch every chair. I sit in a certain chair. I face a certain direction because that's where I've enjoyed the most wins. That's where I've had the most success. That's where I've built my confidence. You see, this same rule applies in relationships. It applies to all aspects of your life. I'm going to go over 4 aspects of confidence in a moment. My intention for this portion is for you to understand the projection from your mind's eye of the energy ball that surrounds you, the energy ball that is a part of you, an energy ball that is who you are. It's based on what you put into the subconscious mind and the power of that subconscious mind. That's what this is about. I want to, at certain times, you'll notice that during these lessons, I read a couple of lines or maybe even a few sentences directly from the book, because it is my intention that you get the intention of the author so that you can feel his energy and the way these words are incredibly well chosen. These words are all chosen in the Power for Success cycle that we're going through, are all chosen for a very specific reason. This one says that after you have gone through the I'm one with the white life and I am white life, that you will now make a statement that I now draw on the universal forces for all power necessary to the success rights and the duties of this day. You see, there's that responsibility. To know and not to do is not to know. When you know you have something to do, the responsibility of knowing that becomes the duty that you must do during that day. If you don't, it tells your subconscious mind that you didn't do it. You see, it goes back to the one person you can't fool, the one person you can't story to, the one person you can't lie to is you. Because your subconscious mind knows the intention and the frequency and the vibration at the atomic level. Your atoms and your molecules vibrate and resonate with a certain frequency depending upon your intention. So you must follow through on your intentions. You can reset your intention, but do it ahead of time. Don't do it as backfilling. You must play offense in this regard in order to build your confidence. The affirmation: during the day, maintain that profound belief in your own integrity and your perfect right to achieve a satisfactory measure of your success. Believe in yourself. Believe in your work. Believe in your destiny. Hold to the mood that affirms that with white universe, I am now every moment receiving all helpful forces needed. You see, I'm now receiving. So much about confidence. People think it's from the inside out, and it is. Yet it is that confidence to receive the information which integrates with your subconscious mind, which allows you to non-verbally communicate and share that energy with others, which leads to your success, which is an unspoken rule of so much success. It's the receiving of the confidence, not just the overly confident person who tends to overcome inadequacies with a false confidence. It's a beautiful lesson. It's a beautiful lesson. You know, there was something mentioned there about the mood that affirms this. The mood. You see, moods are temporary. He even addresses it in here. He says that moods are incidents. You see, a mood is like an event, not a trend. Don't let your moods become a trend, because moods are fleeting. They come and they go for no apparent reason consciously, but subconsciously they're triggered by something that has happened in your senses. It says here also that understand that moods are incidents. They are not soul life essentials. Your soul life is different than the impacts of the temporary feeling that you get from a mood. So don't base your life on the moods that you have. In your magnetic confidence, those positive vibrations that you have do affect others, and success is a matter of general average. This was one of the most enlightening statements in this chapter for me. Because no one wins all the time. No one wins every time. No one is absolutely undefeated in their life, in every category of their life. Therefore, success is a general average of what you've accomplished. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful statement. It also talks about when dealing in business and relationships about not antagonizing others by using methods that arouse, listen to this, that arouse their hostilities. I cannot tell you how many times I've been in meetings where someone has some point and they're just so desperately wanting to express it, and they go in and it's almost like they just poke the person in the eye. You know, they just started off with an insult or something that antagonizes them, and then they expect them to agree with them later in the meeting. That is no way to become successful. Do not antagonize people. Read their energy, feel their energy, and project yours. Go into the meeting with confidence. Those confidence, that magnetic confidence that I've been talking about, is related in four basic ways. It's the confidence in things, in objects. I've talked to race car drivers. I've been very blessed in life to associate and affiliate with people who are at the top of their games. And when you talk with, for instance, an Indy car driver, and they're getting ready to race at the Indy 500, and you talk to them about what is their mental process, what do they see, how do they perceive this, what's going on, and they will tell you that they become one with the car. They actually walk around and touch the car and feel the vibration of the car and feel the energy of the car. And they do practice laps where they can feel where the torque is and where the pull is and how the car matches the track when the tread is brand new on their tires, because that's where literally the rubber meets the road. That's where the connection to stay on the ground is, while they're perceiving their laps. People who do different kinds of racing they film the racetrack. People who play different golf courses film the golf courses, or they do practice rounds so that they're confident in what's going to happen when they hit a certain club, when you drive a certain car, the way the wheel feels. You see, it's about having that confidence, whether it's an object, whether it's with an animal, with a horse, whether it's a rider that knows how his horse is going to respond. You see, these are all ways in which you have magnetic confidence in things, you have magnetic confidence in others, in the people that surround you, the people you choose to be on your team or your staff or your employees or your inner circle, or maybe they're the people that are your confidence. Those people, you have magnetic confidence, you have magnetic interactions with them. The magnetic confidence in others. There's the magnetic confidence in an event, to project and see the outcome of the event as you begin the event. You see, this is something that Blaine and I and Dr. Ted do regularly. We look at the outcome. It's begin with the end in mind. What is our desire for you? What are your takeaways from this upcoming event? And we're already planning the next one, because we're going to announce at this one where the next one will be. You see, this is the way it works. We project this confidence for you to win. How can you get the most out of Jen? It's by coming to the events and being in the energy of others, being in the energy of the objects and the locations. That's why we have them in very spectacular locations. Cabo will be spectacular. You will remember it the rest of your life. And lastly, the fourth quality about that magnetic confidence is the magnetic confidence in self. The magnetic confidence in you. How do you persuade others? How do you get other people to get on board with your mission in your life? Because most of those things are large enough that you have to involve others. You just can't singly accomplish all of those things on your own. Therefore, you have to engage other people. Therefore, why don't we engage them in a way in which is proven historically to be successful? And I'd like to read again, talking about the concept of the subconscious self and how important, we've talked about, and Dr. Ted and I have trained, our father was so well versed. It was interesting, our sister, Dr. Sue, was here for the holidays, and we were talking about how blessed we were, that the conversations that we had 20 and 25 years ago with our father are now very commonplace, and it's unique for each of us to hear those and think about where we were when we first heard those concepts, and how they are so true that they resonate and change the planet. And so it's a blessed run. And I want to share the words of the Power for Success book here, because it says, all genuine hope, courage, and confidence primarily exist and unfold in the subconscious psychic life alone. The conscious self having power not to create, evolve, or immediately direct them, but to deaden and overwhelm them on the one hand, or to afford them channels, fields, and opportunities on the other hand. And the magnetism of these qualities depends, therefore, on the completeness with which you develop them in the subconscious life and the force and skill with which they are subconsciously made to dominate your conscious life and be compelled to adjust themselves telepathically or by appeal through the senses to the people with whom you deal. That may be the longest sentence I've ever read. And I would ask you, go back, rewind, go back and listen to that again. It is amazing. I read that sentence 15 times. 15 times. To get the intention, to get the feel, to incorporate my senses into what was actually being said there. The power of your subconscious mind. We cannot overstate it because it's who you are. And observe with an exclamation point. There are not a lot of, this is not like modern day texting where you get 4 exclamation points and 3 emojis after every statement. They're used sparingly in the early 1900s. All the lessons of this book are infallible educators of the subconscious self. All the lessons of this book are infallible educators of the subconscious self. With the great injunction of the present book, the first, the preliminary, and the abiding intention of all of these pages this lesson closes with the statement he closes each of the lessons with: treat yourself as a live and surely successful proposition. Treat yourself as a live and surely successful proposition. It is that power for success that we share with you. And I know that as you build and cultivate your power, I know that you will build it with the addition of confidence. And with that, we'll close 2019 with supreme confidence that 2020 will be your year. I'm Dr. Tom. I'll see you next year.